Welcome everybody back to my channel. We were working on this 1991 Dodge Ram van b250 with the 5.2 liter motor, and we're just going to talk about and show you what we had to do to replace this belt tensioner. We're not doing any work to this thing right now because we've already did it, and it's hard for me to make the videos while I'm doing the work. So I'm just going to show y'all what I had to go through to get them off and to get it on. So on this particular vehicle, it is the 318. We did notice long ago when this vehicle was first purchased that it didn't have an AC compressor or a bypass pulley for the AC compressor. They just had a normal belt, two belts that were running from the alternator to the crankshaft on the back. And so since we've already replaced the power steering pump in the pulley and the belt, we decided to go ahead and just change the two other serpentine belts, which I don't know why this vehicle uses two. I was told you can get away with one, but I wanted to be safe and go ahead and get two of the same belts. So come to find out, the other two belts that I purchased was the same exact size. Well, I thought it was the same exact size as the other belt that was on there. Come to find out, the belt was way too big. So we went ahead and matched it up with the new belt to be sure. It was still way too big, so I matched it up with the power steering belt because it looked like it was about almost close to the same size, and it was just off by maybe like 4 or 5 inches. So I went to O'Reilly's and we purchased the belts. I took the original belt up there that came off of this vehicle to see if it was the same exact size. It was, but it was just a little too tight, which means I was able to put it on down here on the crank, but it wouldn't go on all the way, like between the crankshaft and the water pump, and I had a hard time forcing it up here, but it wouldn't go here, so I took it back, got a different size belt, which is a little bigger, and it slid on there like a piece of cake with no problems. Both of these belts are a Master Pro, and they are both the same size. I can actually show you all the part number. It's actually on here. It's not really the part number, but that's 15475. Both of these belts are the same exact size, and they're Master Pro. But I will show you the original one. Not the original one, but then one. The belt that's on the Alternator is actually part number 7475. It's the V belt, 15475, and that's the size that you need for the alternator on the crankshaft. So that tells me that the belt that was normally on here was actually a size too big, bigger than this one's actually bigger than the new one because it was too loose. And this is the original belt that came off of it. And this is the other package for the other belt as well, and it's still the same exact size, which I thought was weird. So now you know the size belt that you need. I told her, the mother-in-law, to keep the original belts just in case if you have any problems and you have an emergency and you need it, then you'll have those two old ones as a spare because there's nothing wrong with them. But I thought it made more sense to go ahead and just change the belts on the alternator anyway, because like, if something happens and it breaks later, then you have to take the power steering. You have to loosen up the power steering bracket to be able to loosen up the belt, to be able to take it off, to be able to take those off. And the way how you take the alternator off, which I'm just going to tell you now, is that you have a nut that's actually right here. This is a 14 millimeter nut. You can use a deep socket or you can use a smaller 14 millimeter. I used a socket wrench because it's a lot easier because you don't have to worry about it because it's a very long bolt and it can hit against the body and cause you where you can get your where you won't be able to get your ratchet out. That's a 14 millimeter there, and this nut here that's for this bracket makes it where you can push it back and forth. Is also a 14 millimeter bolt. That bolt comes off as a single bolt only. Put it somewhere where you don't lose it, because if you lose it, you gotta get another nut. This one down here is also 14 millimeter, but you do have a lock nut on the other side, so you will have to have another 14 millimeter wrench to be able to hold it on there to loosen this one, or you can have somebody else hold it on the other side to be able to loosen this, and the same way of tightening it. It's reverse thread on this one. For some reason it is. But this thing here, you would have to pull it almost more than halfway out to be able to push the alternator all the way to here. Because if you got it only halfway out, it's only going to go here, and it's not going to be enough leverage to be able to put both of these belts onto this pulley and put it around the crankshaft, which is the smaller crankshaft pulley. I don't know what they're actually called, so if you want to tell me what it's called, that's fine. Don't hate me for not knowing. I don't really deal with a lot of engines with double crankshaft pulleys, but they're on there, and these are actually pretty tight. They got a little bit of snag, but they're a hell of a lot tighter than the other ones, and they fit better. Then after you get all that done, you just have to, you see this, there's some gold bolts there. Actually, hold on. There's some gold bolts behind the pulley. You got one on the left side there, as you can see, and you got one on the bottom right side for that bracket. You have to loosen those up with a 17 millimeter wrench to be able to loosen up that belt and to tighten it. I would not pull those bolts completely out because they are a pain in the ass to get back on there. In there, because since the original pulley that was on the power steering pump had holes in it and gaps, this one is just a straight pulley with no holes. So it's best to put the bolts in first before you put the pulley on, but the belt to readjust them is a 17 millimeter wrench. It is for me because it didn't have the original bolts and they were missing, so I had to get. Actually, I'm sorry. It had one bolt that was the same. That was like a 14 millimeter, but the other one was missing. So I had to be sure I had got two of the same bolts, and they didn't carry that type of bolt and thread anymore. So I had to get something similar to it, which is those gold bolts, and they were like $3 a piece. They fit perfectly. So this belt here is a teeny loose than normal. And it could be due to those bolts, because the bolts are actually about this long, and the other ones are about this long. So I think the length may make a difference in tightening the belt. I'm not for sure, but it never comes off and it never squeals. So that's basically all you do. It's very simple. It takes only one person to do this. But I will show you the other nut on the back. This is the other nut right here on the back, and I thought that they took this off. I use this type of wrench because it's a lot easier to get in and get out on the back side. Because this is a 15 on one and a 14 on the other. But that nut right there has to be on, or you lose that nut, you're screwed. Because you gotta have something to be able to hold that other bolt on the other side in. But it's reverse thread. And always be sure that your battery is also disconnected. Alright, well, I hope that helps on the serpentine belt on the 1991 Dodge Ram Van B250. As far as giving y'all the size of the belt and the part number, I'm hoping that helps. Because I know sometimes it's hard to find that right belt for this particular vehicle, especially if it doesn't have the AC. And subscribe to my channel, and y'all have a great day and be safe out there.